Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here for our weekly press conference. We have a few things to announce, and frankly, we'll start with just in recognition of the weather is getting better. We are seeing more folks getting out there and doing stuff outside, which is a great time to be thinking about the National Neighborhood Night Out and our local night out. So we once again want to encourage folks to help host one of these neighborhood night out events, and especially because last year we weren't able to have this because of the pandemic. So it's a good opportunity to get to know your neighbors, to really network and help with hopefully deter crime, where if you have better communication with your neighbors, then if something looks suspicious, your neighbor can reach out to you, or if their neighbor knows you and your household and someone who doesn't look like they're in that household tries to get into your home, then they can help make sure that the police are alerted. So with that, we want to let folks know that you can request a free barricade or apply for a street closure if you are planning to host one of these neighborhood night out parties. The materials to help neighborhoods plan their events and register is on our website, which is wichita.gov/NNO. So if you could go to that website and you sign up, not only can you get some of the materials to help promote your event, also if necessary, the ability to have your street closed off so your event can be even more safe. But it also lists your event so that council members and other folks like myself can actually make sure that while we're out there meeting people, we can go to all the events in our districts. If you're a council member or if you're me, you might want to try to hit all the events in the entire city, which would be very hard to do. But by making your event an official event, it puts it on our radar so that council members come out to it, and then also it lets our staff know in case you need any additional help with making the event safe. So with that, we are going to jump into the next topic as the weather is getting warmer, and that's talking about hot cars. And so we know we had a mild spring, but in Kansas, just around the corner, we will see the temperatures rise again. And with that, we want to make sure that our community is safe, particularly our pets and our children who might be left in cars during this weather. So here to tell us more about this issue is Victoria Chandler from Via Christi, who is with our Safe Kids, who's their Safe Kids coordinator, not ours, but I guess all of ours is Wichita, right? So she's here to talk about some tips on ensuring that your pet and your loved one is safe if they're left in a car, and hopefully they're not left in a car, but here you go.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Victoria Chandler. I am the Coordinator Community Outreach of Ascension Via Christi and also Safe Kids Wichita area. My role is as liaison between the community and caregivers who are dedicated to ensure safe, quality care and giving the best possible outcome. One of the best ways to do that is to actually prevent the injury itself. Many accidents and injuries involving children are very preventable, particularly when it comes to children and pets in hot cars. So some of our annual hot car injuries we see in the Sedgwick County involves burns requiring medical treatment at our regional burn center. Others are related not to contact injuries, but rather heat stroke and heat exhaustion. It is caused by heat temperatures outside nearly 100 degrees in cars, and that's normally with closed windows when the outside temperature is 80 degrees or higher. And in fact, even if your window is cracked, the temperature inside of the automobile can actually reach up to 19 degrees in about 10 minutes flat. So it's very quick. But again, this is a very preventable injury. So therefore, Ascension Via Christi and Safe Kids do offer these 3 preventable measures that everyone can take in order to avert this injury or even a needless death. Remember the acronym ACT. So A is avoiding this heat stroke. injury or death by just don't leaving your children in the car or your pets either, not even for a minute. C, creating reminders. Now, most people might say that's a little silly, but we all use our phones. Maybe if we can just put our phones in the back seat with our children, and when we take our children, we take our phones. You never go around and you don't forget about it. T, take action. If you see a child alone in a hot car, call 911. That's what the emergency personnel is there for, and they are trained to respond in these types of situations. So with the temperatures expected to rise this weekend, it's imperative for parents, grandparents, caregivers to remember these two things, and that's beat the heat, check the car seat, and park, look, and lock. Mayor.
Thank you so much for that. So next thing we're going to talk about is Stryker, which, as folks know, this past week we were able to make an amendment to the Star Bond District. One of the, if you follow this, the Stryker complex was approved to have a golf amenity added to it, and we were fortunate to get Topgolf, which is one of the industry leaders, to move into that site. And having Topgolf instead of a knockoff brand, I think, is really something we're looking forward to. But one of the other things that I think less reported on is our upgrades to Stryker, which will make that site more competitive when it comes to trying to attract tournaments, trying to attract other state and national events, regional events for sporting events into Wichita, which will help our economic growth. So we will be formally dedicating the improvements to the facility, and we'll be joined by the Lieutenant Governor David Tolan, as well as other city and county community leaders at the facility. And that will be on tomorrow at 1 p.m. So we want to make that announcement. So again, it's really great that that we're able to make these improvements. As was reported during the meetings, the Star Bonds, the amount of money that is collected in sales tax just in that district is exceeding expectations, and it is just been a success, and we're looking to continue to make that an economic success moving forward. So please join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. with the Lieutenant Governor, David Tolan, as we officially kick off those improvements. And the last thing we'll discuss is the budget. So this is budget season, and last Tuesday was, I think, our second, maybe third workshop, where we started a public workshop where we started the discussions on the budget. We have some really interesting, I guess, just opportunities this year with the ARPA funds, or the federal COVID relief funds that we're getting into Wichita, but also so trying to navigate those, and then also trying to restore some of the stuff that we had to cut last year during the pandemic. We were responsible and had to balance the budget, but also we did so with the anticipation that we might not get anything coming in to help us out from the federal government. With that, we also are having those discussions, but of course we want public input on the budget as well. So our finance staff is beginning to go to the district advisory boards, which is in each of the 6 city council districts, to preview some of the high-level budget items for this year. And on Tuesday, June 22nd at 2 p.m., we will have a special social media town hall where residents can weigh in on budget priorities. Now, again, a budget is a representation really of the city's values. And so we need the public to help us engage so that we can have a better perspective on really what people want to see out of the city of Wichita over the next year. So again, one of the ways that people can voice their opinions is just on Tuesday, June 22nd at 2 p.m., utilizing social media. So the manager on July 20th will present the budget to the council, and then on Thursday, August 5th, we will have an evening public engagement meeting and public hearing at the city council will be held on, and a public hearing at City Council will be held on August 17th. And then we'll hear the budget one last time on August 24th. So again, some of the input I've gotten from the public over the last year is the concern, and it's definitely legitimate, that we have our meetings during the day when a lot of people work. So we've really worked hard to ensure that we can have an evening meeting, which of course means our staff have to now work in the evening. That's usually one of the issues is we have to have all of our staff that's necessary to run a meeting there during the meeting. But we've agreed on August 5th to have this evening meeting for the folks who are working during the day so that they have an opportunity to attend. So we want to work to provide a robust and varied ways to communicate with the community so that everyone has an opportunity to weigh in on a budget. So we hope that everyone has a chance to provide feedback and to help us as we shape our city's priorities for the next year. So this is the time to say something as we are working the budget instead of after the budget is passed. And we want to make sure that we get all that input so we can actually make those changes ahead of time. Questions?
What are some things you're looking to re-implement that you maybe had to cut last year?
Last year we had to cut a lot of staff. And then we also had to cut, of course, our programs that were in-person type programs. So for example, the pools, we have the pools that were supposed to open, I think, on Memorial Day, but of course it was raining. But we need to bring back lifeguards and offer opportunities for mostly high school and college folks are the ones who are applying for those jobs. So we need to bring back people for those. Also, when we talk about just the stuff that we're putting back into action, some of the stuff, I think people are just starting to notice that we had to cut that, right? And it's also an indication that we're getting out of COVID is when my Twitter feed gets filled up with people concerned about tree limbs. Well, it's something that we had to cut last year. This year, the budget, we hope to get all of our forestry services back up and running. Those are, some of the stuff is things that I think people didn't notice, and some of the stuff are very noticeable, like our pools being shut down and us being able to open those back up. Also, our Parks and Rec have done an amazing job when it comes to putting a lot of the programming online, and then some of that programming where you have to bring people back to allow the in-person programming. City Arts is doing some incredible stuff that last year, would have been online. Now we want that to be in person, and some of the budgeting items that go into that are going to be for the facility and for people to be there. And then we got some other opportunities that we've talked about in the budget to help to help with recovery, such as putting money aside for workforce training, putting money aside to help with housing and affordable housing, and also for diversification of our economy and for small business help. That's money coming in from the feds with the Recovery Act that we can put over here, but we can't actually intermingle those funds with some of the other programming. So making the budgets interesting, because money comes in, you might have a lot of money over here, but it's you have to use that for something particular, while something over here, we actually might have to cut programs over here or items over here because we still haven't reached full revenue for the items over there. So lots of interesting stuff. And also one of the big items that I've been pushing, and I think the media covered this a couple weeks ago, is to ensure that when we bring people back to work here at the city, we do so at a living wage. We have an opportunity to really rebuild Wichita right, and it starts right here in our own house. So bringing people back at $15 an hour so that folks can feel good about coming to work and utilizing their talents and their skill sets here at City Hall to help make our city better. They can feel good coming to work knowing that they're being paid appropriately and knowing that they'll have a living wage. So that's something else that we're focused on with this budget as well. Okay, you're next. I'm gonna calling you guys like you're my students in the class. So, got anything? Nope. Channel 12? Nothing? Hey, where's the Eagle? Sure they're watching. Okay, well, they are missed. If you're watching, you guys are missed. All right. Yes, ma'am.
As far as Wichita...
Wait, are you the Eagle?
No,
Okay, because I just definitely just knocked them, and then now I'm gonna get like the worst questions ever from the Eagle reporter. Okay, you're with Kate. Yes, what can I help you with? Sorry, James.
As far as Wichita events are concerned for the next upcoming month, what are you most excited about witnessing?
Really just the community getting together, to be honest. We had a whole year of doing what we had to do to get through the pandemic. And frankly, Wichita got out of the pandemic better than other comparable cities because people took this seriously and did what needed to be done. And we had an incredible rollout of the vaccines. And of course, utilizing masks, even though no one wanted to, but we knew we had to get back through this and on the other side fast. So getting just the events that bring our community together is just going to be so important this year. We're seeing that with the wind surge. We're having really incredible support with the wind surge games. We're seeing this with, I think it was 41 different permits that were approved, I think a few weeks ago, that just highlights that people want to get out, right? Like, so we have these permits coming in for the service industry who wants to host outdoor events. We also have food trucks. We are hopefully going to have, our open streets festivities. We have a different version of Riverfest that's coming up. I can't wait for all of it, really. And as we mentioned today, having even the neighborhood night out stuff, like that's pretty cool to be able to get back to that. So yeah, I'm excited for all of it. I joked that, with Megan, my first year of being mayor, they took everything that made this job fun away. And and there's a little bit of truth to that, because my goal is to get out there and to be with people and to hear about what they want to see for the future of our city. And we do that best when we can get out and get back to celebrating different events together. All right, Chandler, well, you're the only one without a question. You good still? All right, cool. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Of course, reach out to me if there's any questions or anything that any information I can provide during this week. Have a good weekend.